Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Value Learning. So we have broken down the first chapter of strategic management, that is introduction of strategic management, into three parts. In the first part we'll cover about strategic management concepts. The second will cover about the vision, mission and goals and values, and the third part will cover about the strategic level. So let's dive in. So in the first part, we'll cover the following topics. What do you understand by the term management? Concept of strategy. What is strategic management? Importance of strategic management and limitations of strategic management. Now let's discuss about management. What is the management? Basically, no organization can survive without management because it will lead only to confusion. Therefore, sound, alert and responsible management is very important for any organization. In the study guide, the management has been used in following two senses. First is key group in the organization who is in charge of its affairs. So its tasks involves how best it can allocate and utilize resources such as people, finances, technology, raw materials, etc. efficiently and effectively. This is very important. They should use it efficiently and effectively to achieve its organizational goals. So their success depends on how efficiently and effectively they utilize these resources to get the maximum possible outcome or advantage for their organization and for their stakeholders. The second is set of interrelated functions and processes carried out by the management of an organization. So it is also in charge to perform functions like planning, where they set objectives and decide what actions are required in advance. They organize, where they take plan and structure into action. They direct, then they do staffing. They play a critical role in motivating employees and fostering collaboration. And they control to operate successfully in a constantly changing environment. And then by doing all this, they should build competitive advantage. It aligns individual goals with the organizational goals so that everyone is on the same page and everyone is working in the same direction. They are in charge of formulation of mission, vision, value and goals of the company and sets the tone of culture and value within the organization. Concept of strategy. Guys, time for a quiz. Please pause the video, read the question properly and then think of an answer. So the question was, strategy is a game plan used for which of the following? A, to make market position. B, to attract and satisfy customers. C, to respond to dynamic and hostile environment. And D, all of the above. So your answer is D, all of the above. And what's the reason? Basically, strategy is a game plan that the management of a business uses to make market position, conduct its operation, attract and satisfy customers, compete successfully, and achieve organizational objectives. Time for quiz 2. Please pause the video, read the question properly, and then think of an answer. So the question was, which of the following is correct? A, strategy is always pragmatic and not flexible. B, strategy is not always perfect, flawless and optimal. C, strategy is always perfect, flawless and optimal. And D, strategy is always flexible but not pragmatic. So the correct answer is B, strategy is not always perfect, flawless and optimal. So strategy can never be perfect, flawless and optimal. It is the very nature of strategy that is flexible and pragmatic to take care of sudden emergencies, pressures and avoid failures and frustrations. It should take into account for the uncertain external environment outside. So what is strategy? Strategy is basically an integrated plan designed to determine the actions to be taken to pursue its goals, vision and mission. How do you respond to or make changes to original plan based on the changes in the environment? It needs to be dynamic to face hostile external forces. For example, Tata Motors, it has now heavily invested in electric vehicles and sustainable practices to adapt to the growing environmental regulations and awareness regarding climate change and pollution. Paytm. Paytm was created as a new market for digital and mobile payments in India, responding to a need for convenient and accessible payment methods in an environment where mobile penetration was high, but digital payments were not widely adopted. So another example is UPI, basically United Payment Interface, which has become the world's largest platform for payments. And basically Paytm is part of the UPI payment infrastructure. So what's the USP of it? It's fast, secure, and real-time payment of bank-to-bank payments. It is free for users and works 24/7. It is simplified the payment process to a very large extent. You don't need extensive documentation for it or details for that matter. UPI is a payment infrastructure, and it is basically a true example for Make in India for the world. So, how was it so successful? It was all because of a well planned identification of existing problem statement all over the world and India, and then formulation of a proper strategy, and then putting it to perfect execution. So, all that went to make it super successful. So, what is strategy? What should strategy basically answer? It is a plan and a blueprint to answer following key questions: what it wants to be, what it wants to do, how it wants to do its things, where it wants to go. It is better if it can be as detailed as possible, covering the operational level strategy as well, because devil lies in the details. Also there are famous quotes from the management experts Igor H. Ansoff, which says the common thread among the organization's activities and product markets that defines the essential nature of business that the organization has or plan to be in the future. And then one is from William F. Gluunk: a unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan designed to assure that the basic objectives of the enterprise are achieved. So, this picture is self explanatory. So, strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive. A company's strategy flows from both previously initiated actions and business plans and approaches that were working well, plus newly initiated managerial decisions to strengthen the company's position. Thus, strategy is partly deliberate and proactive, as well as reactive to take into account of the uncertain external environment. One cannot completely plan or anticipate the future events, and therefore there always is a room for uncertainty. Based on such unplanned scenario, and the organization needs to adapt or update its organizational strategy. So, for an example, in response to lockdown and the drastic changes in the consumer behavior during the pandemic, companies like the online travel agency Make My Trip, fashion retailer Club Factory, and bike taxi aggregator Rapido pivoted to new service lines such as food and grocery delivery services to stay relevant and operational during the time of crisis. So it's time for the quiz again. Please read the question properly, think of an answer, and before that, just pause the video. So the question was: strategic management enables an organization to dash instead of companies just responding to threats in their business environment. A. Be proactive. B. Determine when the threat will subside. C. Avoid the threats. Or D. Defeat the competitors. So, as we have already discussed, answer should be A. Be proactive. Because organizations are required to be proactive instead of reactive to stay up in their game. They need to analyze and take actions instead of just being spectators and reacting to external environment. They should take control first and carve out their own journey and destiny. Same goes for us as students. We need to carve our life ourselves instead of just being reactive. We should proactively study, make schedules, time to prepare for the exam, and then we should appear instead of first appearing and then seeing the results and then upping our game. We should always be proactive and prepare well and take actions accordingly. So, what is strategic management? Though this is not really very relevant and it's very self explanatory. So, we'll just go through this quickly. What is the overall objective of strategic management, which is twofold as provided in your study material? One is to create competitive advantage, that is, to make an organization something unique, or it creates a differentiation in the market so that it creates a value for its customer, and thereby it has a strong market position and it outperforms its competitors. So it is always to create that X factor or that competitive advantage to differentiate itself from its competitors. The second is to guide the company successfully through all changes in the environment. This is to react in the right manner. So because it's already discussed, it's the external environment is always uncertain, so you need to also adopt a reactive strategy as well, but you should do it in a right manner, which is very important. The term strategic management refers to managerial process of developing a strategy, vision, mission, crafting the strategy and implementing it to the perfection, and taking feedbacks, and also adapting those strategies and implementing according to the changing circumstances, so that it can put their organization in the best possible position. And so this process is not just one time, it keeps on going depending on the changes in the environment. So every 6 months, 1 year, it needs to be updated and see what corrective actions to be taken, and how well the strategy is going. So it's all part of the strategic management. Now, there is a constant debate: what is the need for strategic management, whether it's important or not. So, definitely, formulation of strategies and implementation is essential for all organization for their growth and survival. So, as Charles Darwin has coined this word, survival of the fittest, which is very relevant for all organizations as well. So, where fittest is not always the largest or the strongest, but the ones who can adapt successfully to the changing circumstances. As you may know, there's been a lot of examples in the past where the biggest and the strongest companies have become extinct now. So, for example, Kodak, it was replaced by the digital cameras. Then Nokia, it was replaced by the smartphones. Then Blockbuster, it was a very popular home video rental service company, which was also replaced by Netflix. So, and it was not that there was not opportunity for them to grow. They were giants of their time, and they were really approached for this new technology back when they were in their prime. But then their management took decisions and they did not pay heed to it, and somehow they did not adopt those or did not take over. Like Blockbuster was Netflix approached Blockbuster to for buying them, but then they did not pay heed, and so then later Netflix grew and it just took over the market by its live streaming services, video online streaming services, sorry. And that's what is the reason for the extinction. So let's discuss on the what are the importances. So first is, it defines the goals and mission. It gives the direction to the company to move ahead, so everyone knows what's the goal and it should be inspiring, and it leads everyone to move towards that direction. So second is to develop certain core competencies. It is always important to develop a certain core competency to survive and stay relevant. For example, Google search algorithm or Apple's design excellence is their core competencies, which differentiates itself from the others, and that's why that uniqueness draws a lot of customers and draws so much value for the organization. Second is, be proactive instead of reactive, which we have discussed extensively previously. So then it provides a framework for all major decisions for an organization. So once it has set its goals, vision, mission, it provides a framework, and it also tells where they have to channelize or focus all their energy and resources into. So they have to allocate resources into different places, but based on their strategy they will focus on that. and it helps them in taking major decisions or decisions for their organization. Like they can take any where which business they want to go into, which products they want to go into, which markets they want to go into, where they want to exit, when they want to diversify. So all these decisions, and it provides clarity to the organization what is trying to achieve. So, and then leaders make more informed, data driven choices that consider the broader business environment and available resources rather than solely concentrating on a small short term gain. Uh, and the next is it prepares them for the future. It acts as the pathfinders to various business opportunities. This happens primarily by anticipating changes, building resilience, fostering continuous adaptation. So, Netflix demonstrated adaptability by strategically shifting its entire business model from DVD rentals to a streaming first platform, anticipating the digital future of entertainment. So serves as defense mechanism against mistakes and pitfalls. So that is basically to avoid any costly mistakes. Companies that fail to adapt their strategies to changes in the business environment, such as shift to digital photography by Kodak or smartphones by Nokia, they find themselves then vulnerable. Successful strategic management as a defense mechanism involves proactively developing new products or services to stay relevant and to protect their market share. Then last one of the last, and it should not be just the last, there may be a lot of other importances which you can think of. Then enhance the longevity of the business. It helps to enhance longevity of business and stay abreast with the competition. They demonstrate this through successful strategies such as diversification, market disruption, and continuous adaptation to the changing markets. For example, let's say Tata Group has achieved longevity through a successful diversification strategy. They expanded from steel and automobiles into software, telecommunications, and retail, and so on and so forth. It's also entered into airlines, right? So, its long term vision has allowed the group to identify high potential sectors and invest strategically, thus spreading risks and ensuring sustainable growth. The presence of strategic passion cannot counter all hindrances and always achieve success. There are certain limitations too. Let's go one by one. First is environment is highly complex and turbulent. It is difficult to understand the complex environment and how it will shape in the future. So, an organization which blindly relies on its business strategy can go absolutely wrong if the environment is turbulent. For example, like BlackBerry, it clung to its physical keyboard and B2B focused strategy, underestimating consumer demand for touchscreens and app ecosystems, which was championed by iPhones and Android services. Second is time consuming process. It takes a lot of planning, preparing, communicating the strategy, and it kind of eats up in your routine business time. So planning is one part and putting them into the work is where the actual success lies. For example, let's take an example, maybe a retail company like Walmart, if it is deciding its operations globally. So let's say it wants to enter a new country in Southeast Asia. So it will take analysis and planning, maybe months of effort. This company must dedicate a significant time of research to the new markets, consumer behavior, local competition, regulatory environment, potential supply chain logistics, and this will involve a team of analysts and consultants. Then, second, they will formulate a strategy after all that planning and analysis, which may also again take weeks or months of effort. Then, the executive team must formulate a specific strategy for entry, like how they want to enter, like through acquisition, through building new stores, or e-commerce should be the focus, and then define the unique value proposition in order to succeed. Then the final is that they have to implement that strategy, right, which will again like 2 to 3 years or 6 months to 3 years it will take or more. So this involves very time consuming tasks like securing a location, building infrastructure, hiring and training local staff, establishing supplier relationships, implementing new technology systems, marketing and launching the brand in the new region. And then they will do the monitoring and evaluation, which will be an ongoing process, right? The company needs to host regular meetings to track key performance indicators, sales targets, profit margins, and adapts its local strategy to competitive actions and changing consumers' preferences. So then the plan goes off track, and then maybe they need to reassess the entire strategy. So the entire strategy process, from initial analysis to full implementation and ongoing monitoring, can take years to fully mature, demonstrate why strategic management is an intensive, time consuming commitment rather than a quick fix. And it's always costly as well, because you will have to do all this, you will have to hire people, you have to um, allocate the resources, so it's costly process as well. And then it is also difficult to estimate competitors responses. So this is also not an easy process. Everyone is doing behind a closed door, so it's not always easy to gauge what will be the competitors response to their strategy and how will they move. So this is like an estimation and speculation, which is not very easy. So now with this we are at the end of chapter 1, part 1. See you soon in the next section on strategic intent, mission, vision, goals and objectives. If you like the video, request you to please like the video and hit the bell icon to subscribe for more such engaging videos. Thank you.